So let's start our webinar. Today we are discussing about blockchain as the technical democracy. We are going through the topics blockchain and technical democracy, the Ethereum platform, the revolutionary algorithms that define the blockchain, and security, the risk elements, the protocols that blockchain has. So moving on, what is the traditional storage before the blockchain was entering into the scenario? Our traditional storage mechanisms like Google, Facebook, and many more applications uses a centralized storage mechanism. They have data centers. As the internet currently works on a centralized model, it is susceptible to censorship. The biggest problem of third-party cloud storage services is that the company hands over their data to a third party for storing services. Since the data is outside the company's control, the data privacy settings are beyond their control as well. Since users usually back up their data in real time, they may accidentally give up on control of the data that they didn't mean to share it in the first place. And the problem is data mismanagement. Facebook Cambridge Analytica debacle is the best example of a third party mismanaging their client's data. Alexander Kogan, a data scientist at Cambridge University, developed an app called This Is Your Digital Life and then provided it to Cambridge Analytica. They, in turn, used it to survey Facebook users for academic research purposes. However, Facebook's design allowed the app to not only collect the personal information of the users, but all their connections as well. Because of this, Cambridge Analytica was able to get their hands on personal data of a staggering 87 million Facebook users, of which 70.6 million were from the United States. According to Facebook, the information stolen included one's public profile, page likes, birthday, and the current city. Some of the users even gave their permission to access their newsfeed, timeline, and messages. The data they ultimately obtained was so detailed that they were able to create psychographic profiles for the subjects of the data. The profiles created were detailed enough to suggest what kind of advertisement would be most useful to persuade a particular person in a specific location for some political event. Politicians paid Cambridge Analytica handsomely to use the information from the data breach to influence various political events. So, we want a distributed, decentralized system of the web content rather than a centralized one. Like with conventional cloud computing, you pay as you use instead of prepaying for a server. However, instead of all the data being stored in a centralized server, the data is distributed into different chunks and stored inside different nodes of a peer to peer network. So, the ultimate goal is to provide the internet service which is decentralized, censorship resistant, and doesn't require the user to give up their control over their content. A decentralized network architecture distributes workloads among several machines instead of relying on a single central server. So, sorry. Let's now discuss about the advantages of decentralized storage. One of the main advantages is security. Decentralized storage platform breaks apart the users' files and distribute them across multiple nodes on their network. Since the data is scattered across multiple nodes, there is no single point of failure. Decentralized storage can become a critical part of a company's daily operations. Blockchain integration might very become the catalyst needed to boost storage to the next level. This allows greater privacy as information is not passing through a single point and instead of passes through a number of different points. This makes it much more difficult to track across a network. Decentralization looks to improve the speed and flexibility of the network by localizing processing power to the individual user. So, democracy is a system of the people, by the people, and for the people, as defined by Abraham Lincoln. Like that, blockchain is a system that is created of the people, by the people, and for the people. In blockchain, as we discussed, the decentralized storage helps to achieve this. The innovation of blockchain technology become more accessible to more people. Thus, Blockchain is the technical democracy in the present society. Now let's discuss what is blockchain. We all have heard about blockchain. Blockchains are incredibly popular nowadays. Let's start by asking ourselves what is blockchain? How do they work? What problems do they solve? And how can they be used? Like the name indicates, a blockchain is a chain of blocks that contains information. Unlike traditional methods, blockchain enables peer to peer transfer of digital assets without any intermediaries. A blockchain is a distributed ledger that is completely open to anyone. They have an interesting property. Once some data has been recorded inside a blockchain, it becomes very difficult to change it. This technique was originally described in 1991 by a group of researchers and was originally intended to timestamp digital documents so that it's not possible to backdate them or tamper with them. The blockchain by itself has taken a life of its own and permeated a broad range of applications across many industries, including finance, healthcare, government, manufacturing, distribution, goods transfer, for example, supply chain, digital media transfer, for example, sale of art, remote services delivery, example, travel and tourism, platform for decentralized business logic, for example, moving computing to data sources, and distributed intelligence, example, education credentialing. Additional applications of blockchain, including distributed resources, for example, power generation and distribution, crowdfunding, for example, startup fundraising, crowd operations, for example, electronic voting, identity management, for example, one ID for all of your life functions, and government public records and open governing. Moreover, blockchain can be enable an inclusive economy. It can enable a person in a remote corner of the world to take part in democratic process. The blockchain technology has a real potential in developing a secure, trusted, and inexpensive voting system. But there are many theoretical and practical issues that have to be dealt with before the technology will be accepted even for testing. Blockchain enables greater transparency. The transaction histories are become more transparent through the use of blockchain technology. Let's begin with an introduction of Bitcoin. Though our focus is on general blockchain, we have to understand the working of the technology behind the Bitcoin to fully appreciate the innovation of the blockchain. Around 2008-2009, when the institutions and markets were crumbling down, a mysterious person or persons called Satoshi Nakamoto introduced a new digital currency, a cryptocurrency called Bitcoin. Bitcoin enabled an innovative platform for peer-to-peer transfer of value without any central authority. With no central authority, how did Bitcoin realize trust and security? By implementing software programs for validation, verification, consensus in a novel infrastructure called the blockchain. Later on, about 2012-2013, computation elements were added to the blockchain infrastructure that has opened up a whole world of possibilities beyond simple currency transfer. As we discussed, blockchain is about enabling peer-to-peer transaction in a decentralized network, establishing trust among unknown peers and recording the transaction in an immutable distributed ledger. Let's understand centralized versus decentralized network using a common scenario. Consider a scenario where a customer wants to buy an item using credit card. Let's enumerate the intermediaries involved in accomplishing this task. We have a credit card agency, a customer bank, a credit card bank, an exchange, the merchant's bank, and finally the merchant. This is an example of centralized system that we are so used to. Now compare this with a system where peers can transact directly with each other irrespective of where they are located. Functions of the intermediaries are shifted to the periphery to the peer participant in the blockchain infrastructure. Peers are not necessarily known to each other. This is a decentralized system. How do we establish trust among the peers in such a decentralized system? It's by having a process in place to validate, verify, and confirm transactions. Record the transaction in a distributed ledger of blocks, create a tamper-proof record of blocks, chain of blocks, and implement a consensus protocol for agreement on the block to be added in the chain. So, validation, verification, consensus, and immutable recording lead to the trust and security of the blockchain. Now, I will explain these concepts using another scenario. Suppose John lending Edwin 10,000 rupees. This is one single peer-to-peer transaction. Both make a note on both make a note of it on a ledger. What if John changes his entry from 10,000 to 11,000? Alternatively, Edwin changes his from 10,000 to 1,000. To prevent this trust violation, we need to seek help of the people around us. David, Rahul, Edison. Provide all of them with a valid copy of this ledger. This is the basic concept of an immutable distributed ledger defined in a blockchain process. In this scenario, we were all physically present in one location, that is Kochi. Now imagine this to be an online transaction to an unknown peer. Also, scale up this one transaction to 10,000 transactions. How about a million transactions? It should be able to transact with equal ease to an unknown peer in Trivandrum, America, or Canada. Maybe to send some flowers to a friend in New York. This is the principle of a decentralized system supported by blockchain. In the case just described, how do we trust our unknown peers? It's through verification and validation. In our example, Edwin requests Rahul to verify the amounts transacted with him. Rahul checks it. Oops, he finds the amount of the transaction is not 10,000 but 300. Not valid. Rahul rejects and nullifies the transaction. Similar to these, validation, then verification methods devised by the blockchain and implemented by the peers provide the collector trust needed in a decentralized system. So, summarizing, blockchain technology supports methods for a decentralized peer to peer system, a collective trust model, and a distributed immutable ledger of transactions. Let's discuss the basic structure of a blockchain. Transaction is the basic element of the Bitcoin blockchain. Transactions are validated and broadcast. Many transactions form a block. Many blocks form a chain through a digital data link. Blocks go through a consensus process to select the next block that will be added to the chain. Chosen block is verified and added to the current chain. Validation and consensus process are carried out by special peer nodes called miners. Miners are powerful computers executing software defined by the blockchain protocol. Let's now discuss the details of a single transaction in Bitcoin. A fundamental concept of Bitcoin network is unspent transaction output, also known as UTXO. The set of all UTXO in a Bitcoin network collectively defines the state of the Bitcoin blockchain. UTXOs are referenced as inputs in a transaction. UTXOs, those are also output generated by a transaction. All of that UTXOs in a system are stored by the participant nodes in a database. Now let's review the role of the UTXOs in a Bitcoin blockchain. The transaction uses the amount specified by one or more UTXOs and transmits it to one or more newly created UTXOs according to the request initiated by the sender. The structure of a given UTXOs is very simple. It includes a unique identifier of the transaction that created this UTXO, an index or the position of the UTXO in the transaction output list, a value or the amount it is good for, and an output script, the condition under which the output can be spent. The transaction itself includes a reference number of the current transaction, references to one or more input UTXOs, references to one or more output UTXOs, newly generated by the current transaction, and the total input amount and the output amount. Participants can validate the transaction contents. Now we have reviewed the basics of a blockchain structure and origin. Let's now consider the basic operations in a blockchain. The operations include validation, transactions, gathering the transactions for a block, broadcasting the ballot transaction in the block, consensus of the next block creation, and chaining the blocks to form an immutable record. Now we explore some of the fundamental operations of the Bitcoin blockchain. First, we have to discuss the participants. There are two major roles for the participants. Participants that initiate transfer of value by creating transaction, additional participants called miners who pick on added work or compute to verify transaction, broadcast transaction, compute to claim the right to create a block, work on reaching consensus by validating the block, broadcasting the newly created block, and confirming transactions. You might wonder why participants would take on additional work. Well, the miners are incentivized with Bitcoin for the efforts in managing the blockchain, as we will find out. Transaction validation is carried out independently by all miners. The process involves validation of more than 20 criteria, including size, syntax, etc. Some of these criteria are: reference input UTXOs are valid, reference output UTXOs are correct, reference input amount and output amount match sufficiently, invalid transactions are rejected and will not be broadcast. All the valid transactions are added to a pool of transactions. Miners select a set of transactions from this pool to create a block. This creates a challenge. If every miners add the block to the chain, there will be many branches to the chain, resulting in inconsistent state. We need a system to overcome this challenge. The solution. Miners compete to solve a puzzle to determine who earned the right to create the next block. Here we introduce the proof of work for the consensus of the transaction. A proof of work is a piece of data which is time consuming and costly to produce but easy for others to verify and which satisfies certain requirements. Producing a proof of work can be a random process with low probability so that a lot of trial and error is required on average before a valid proof of work is generated. The algorithm is called proof of work protocol since it involves work a computational power to solve the puzzle and to claim the right to form the next block. Transaction 0, index 0 of the confirmed block is created by the miner of the block. It has a special UTXO and does not have any input UTXO. It is also called the coin-based transaction that generates a miner's fee for the block creation. This is how new coin is maintained in Bitcoin. To summarize, the main operations in a blockchain are transaction, validation, and block creation with the consensus of the participants. Let's now look beyond Bitcoin. Bitcoin supports an optional and special feature called scripts for conditional transfer of values. Ethereum blockchain extended the scripting feature into a full-blown code execution framework called smart contract. A smart contract provides the very powerful capability of code execution for embedding business logic on blockchain. Based on such capabilities, three major types of blockchains emerged from Bitcoin Foundation. Type 1 deals with the coins in cryptocurrency currency chain. Example Bitcoin. Type 2 supports cryptocurrency and a business logic layer supported by code execution. Example Ethereum. Type 3 involves no currency but supports software execution for business logic. Example, the Linux Foundation's Hyperledger. With the addition of code execution comes the serious consideration about public access to the blockchain. Hence, the blockchain of public, private, and permissioned blockchains based on the access limits. In Bitcoin, everything is supported by its public participants. Thus, Bitcoin is a fantastic example of the public blockchain class. Anybody can join and leave as they wish. Transaction blocks and the blockchain are publicly observable even though participants are anonymous. It is open source. You can also create new coin digital currency by modifying the Bitcoin code. Wallet applications provide the basic interface to transfer value through the Bitcoin blockchain. In a private blockchain, access to the blockchain is limited to the selected participants, for example, those participants within an organization. This restriction helps in simplifying the normal operations such as block creation and contingent model. The third classification of blockchain is permissioned blockchain, also called consortium blockchain. It is meant for a consortium for collaborating parties to transact on a blockchain for ease of governance, provenance, and accountability, for example, a consortium of all automobile companies or healthcare organizations. Permissioned blockchain has the benefits of public blockchains with allowing only users with permission to collaborate and transact. In summary, significant innovations such as smart contracts have opened up broader applications for blockchain technology. Private and permissioned blockchain allow for controlled access to the blockchain, enabling many diverse business models. Now let's look Ethereum platform. Bitcoin blockchain is mother of all blockchains. It was intended to peer-to-peer transfer of value and does well. Around 2013, a framework for code execution was introduced by Ethereum founders. The main point of this Ethereum blockchain is smart contract. Consider this diagram comparing Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchain. On the left, it is Bitcoin blockchain and a wallet application for initiating transactions. On the right, Ethereum that took a significant step towards transforming the blockchain into a computational framework that opened up a whole world of opportunities in the decentralized field. Ethereum supports smart contracts and of virtual machines on which smart contracts execute. Smart contracts in turn enable decentralized applications that accomplish more than a transfer of value. Efficient automation of decentralized applications such as supply chain. What is a smart contract? Let's review the basics. A smart contract is a piece of code deployed in the blockchain node. Execution of a smart contract is initiated by a message embedded in the transaction. Digital currency transfer requires symbol addition and subtraction. Ethereum enables transactions that may carry out more sophisticated operations. For example, a transaction could require a conditional transfer, it may require some valuation, and it may need more than one signature for the transfer of assets, or it may involve waiting for a specific time or date. Let's consider an example of what a smart contract can do. An auction bidding smart contract could execute this logic. If the age of a bidder is greater than 18 and the bid is greater than the minimum bid, then accept the bid or else reject the bid. This can be done using a smart contract. So, what does the smart contract look like? How do you write a smart contract? Structurally, a smart contract resembles a class definition in an object oriented design. It has data, functions, or methods with modifiers public, private, or with getter of set of functions. Specific programming languages have been designed for coding smart contracts. Solidity is such of one language. Let's examine a simple Solidity smart contract to understand this structure. First line with pragma indicates the version of the Solidity language. The contract's name in the first line. This particular contract is for one integer storage. The data for the integer is defined with a type name. Unsigned stored data. Two functions are defined for writing and reading the data, set and get. Code execution. Where does the code in the smart contract get executed? Where is it? It is located in a node. We need a computational infrastructure to execute an arbitrary code. Every node in an Ethereum network should be able to execute the code irrespective of that underlying type of hardware or operating system. Enter Ethereum Virtual Machine (EVM). An EVM provides a run anywhere abstraction layer for the contract code. A smart contract written with a high-level programming language is translated to EVM bytecode and then deployed on Ethereum Virtual Machine (EVM). Every node will host the same smart contract codes on the EVM. Summarizing, smart contracts add a layer of logic and computation to the trust infrastructure supported by the blockchain. Smart contract allows for execution of code, enhancing the basic value transfer capability of the Bitcoin blockchain. The code for this smart contract is written in a high-level language like Solidity and compiled into bytecode. The code for the smart contract is executed on special structure known as Ethereum Virtual Machine. Now let's look the Ethereum structure. Bitcoin blockchain state was defined in terms of unspent transaction output UTXOs and a reference implementation of the wallet application that held the account reference. Ethereum formally introduced the concept of an account as a part of the protocol. The account is the originator and the target of a transaction. A transaction directly updates the account balances as opposed to maintaining the state such as the Bitcoin UTXOs. It allows for transmit of values and messages and data between the accounts that may result in the state transactions. These transfers are implemented using transactions. There are two types of accounts: externally owned accounts and contract accounts. Externally owned accounts (EOA) are controlled by private keys. Contract accounts or CA are controlled by the code and can be activated only by an EOA. An externally owned account is needed to participate in the Ethereum network. It interacts with the blockchain using transactions. A contract account represents a smart contract. Every account has a coin balance. The participant node can send transaction for either transfer or it can use transaction to invoke a smart contract code or both. Both types of transaction require fees. An account must have sufficient balance to meet the fees needed for the transactions activated. Fees are paid in Wei. Wei is a lower denomination of Ether. 1 Ether is 10 to the power of 18 Weis. A transaction in Ethereum includes the recipient of the message, digital signature of the sender authorizing the transfer, amount of Wei to transfer, an optional data field or payload that contains a message to a contract, start gas, which is a value representing the maximum number of computation steps the transaction is allowed. Gas price is a value representing the fees sender is willing to pay for the computations. Summarizing, accounts are basic units of Ethereum protocol, externally owned accounts and smart contract accounts. An Ethereum transaction includes not only the fields that transfer of ethers but also messages for invoking smart contracts. An Ethereum block contains the usual previous block hash nonce, transaction details but also details about gas or fees limits, the state of the smart contracts. Now let's look at the Ethereum operations. For a simple Ether transfer, the amount to transfer and the target address are specified along with the fees or gas points. The amount and the fees are transferred to their respective accounts. Here, we illustrate a transaction of 100 Ether transfer between sender and the receiver's account. Note that besides this, 21,000 of gas points are paid to the miner who added the transaction block to the blockchain. As discussed, an Ethereum node is a computational system representing a business entity or an individual participant. An Ethereum full node hosts the software needed for transaction initiation, validation, mining, block creation, smart contract execution, and the Ethereum virtual machine EVM. This figure depicts the deployment of a smart contract and the invocation for a smart contract. Smart contract is designed, developed, compiled, and deployed on the EVM that can be more than one smart contract in an EVM. When the target address in a transaction is a smart contract, the execution code corresponding to the smart contract is activated and executed on the EVM. The input needed for this execution is extracted from the payload field of the transaction. Current state of the smart contract is the values of the variables defined in it. The state of the smart contract may be updated by this execution. Results of this execution is told in the receipts. A blockchain maintains both the state hash and the receipt hash. All the transactions generated are validated. Transaction validation involves checking the timestamp and the nonce combination to be valid and the availability of sufficient fees for execution. Miner nodes in the network receive, verify, gather, and execute transactions. The inverse smart contracts code are executed by all miners. Validated transactions are broadcast and gathered for block creation. The consensus protocol used in a memory-based rather than a CPU-based proof of work.